You know it's back. After a week off, we're back with this week's JLJ. Oh my God, I have the wrong. You guys, you say I have the wrong thing up. It's JLJ this evening. So what's hilarious is I'm gonna change it right here in front of you guys. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if you can see it or not. I am. There we go. Let's change that. Daylight savings time just happened, and I'm still recovering. Daylight savings time always just knocks me off my feet for a few days. Not a fan. All right, everybody. So this week, we're back with week's worth of JLJ this evening. Thanks for listening and watching the program. Also, our sister show, JLJ After Dark. I've been alternating back and forth. I can't remember where I left off, so I'm just doing JLJ this evening this week, and then next week we JLJ After Darks. But this one is a little serious, and I wanted to talk about a shout out someone that I miss. It would have been his birthday today. A really someone really close to me died suddenly of a heart attack at like 25 years old. Like so young. He had some health issues before that, but this was a total shock to all of us. And his birthday was March 10th. So I'm putting this out. And he died in 1997, which I can't believe that. So it's almost been 30 years. His son, who looks like him, of course, is grown, married, and it's shout out to Zachary, it's crazy, and shout out to Zachary's mom, Maria, my friend. It's been 28 years. And I still miss him. And I just want to talk about him a little bit because I know all of us out there, we miss people, and sometimes time doesn't heal all wounds. It takes a while sometimes. Mm, and some yogurt. Um, but I want to say something just positive. So it's funny. So I met his name was Stephen Dominguez, and I met him at a place called Headlines. I've talked about Headlines a couple times on the show. It was a very important job that I had in the 90s. When I look back on it, I had it for a lot of the 90s while living in San Francisco. Headlines was owned by a guy named Andy Kramer, and it was like a mixture shop of things. And it was very popular. They had several locations, very popular. And the first location I worked at was one on Market Street, which is a major street in San Francisco. Market Street, you go down it, major street. And you'll hear me talk about this Headlines, Market Street, and other episodes. I always talk about it. And I was working there, and they hired someone, and I remember I could hear his loud, kind of raspy voice, just talking just talking. And they put us together. He said, "Well, we want you to help train him. We're one a day or whatever." And it was this guy with dark hair and blue eyes. But I think that combination is just amazing. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And this was the mid '90s, and around '95 or so. And he was from LA. And so I'm living in San Francisco. My friend Michelle, who I mentioned on this program before, she was from LA, and he was from LA. So it's like we all kind of bonded because we were LA people in San Francisco. San Francisco is just such a very different kind of city. It's very different. And it was very cool to meet somebody who was from LA and who was a year younger than me, just a year younger than I was, because when I met him, I was like 26 or so. He was like 24 or whatever. So how we met, he was a little younger than me. So we had met, yeah, 95, and we hit it off clearly. We started talking crap to each other, which is a thing you do when, somebody's around your age, you're two dudes, and you talk. Well, I can say it's nighttime. We talk shit to each other, go back and forth, and it was a lot of fun. And he was loud and kind of somewhat obnoxious, and I could be loud and obnoxious. We had a great time, and I was just spit with him too. I just thought he was everything, but he had that LA flair, and he says there's a different. The folks in San Francisco, and that's my other home. I love San Francisco. It was a different vibe than Southern California. Northern California and Southern California are very different, just very different vibes. And so he reminded me of home. I was part of it. So I instantly was like, we go out together and became super close. And that was just right away. And So we to cut to a couple of years later, so we're firmly entrenched and everything, and I remember getting the phone call that he died, and I was just like, I remember I was at work, and Maria called me, and I was just like, no, I was like, he's because she said he's gone. I was like, gone. Like I just didn't, and I forget when I was in nursing school, they used to always teach us when someone dies to say they died because people are in shock. You say they're gone, they passed, they don't get, they won't, it won't, they'll think other things. They say just policy is you say they died. Um, and so it goes because died, that's the word everybody kind of gets. And I just wasn't getting it. It was like, I just talked to him. I don't understand him. It was crazy, but he died of a heart attack. I spoke at his funeral. And I was devastated. I spoke at his funeral, and everything. So it's just, and he's in a lovely plot of land in Colma, San Francisco, South San Francisco. But I will tell you my life. When you have markers in your life, that's one of my markers. Like one of my major markers. You have like smaller markers, you have little milestones. This was a major milestone where it's before Stephen, after Stephen, a completely major milestone for me. And and I think part of it was the shock of dying just so suddenly. There was no long illness, and plus so young, like so young, like just so young, and all of that. It just completely just makes you just kind of it shakes you up. And and this is in the late before that in the late 80s, early 90s, there were we had a lot of AIDS deaths. But see, people would get sick and they would die suddenly, but you would see them sick first. Or if they're older people, many times you saw them sick and then they died. Now I did have a girl that died suddenly, but I'm gonna say it's kind of like it's I don't know which is worse. I don't think there is a worse or, but just I know when it's sudden, your feelings are just like, what do I do? People have asked me how did I handle. Well, I cried it out. Number one, and it took me years to work through that loss. Losing my brother Max years later, suddenly from a heart attack, brought that up of the stuff Steven. It brought me, and my brother Max died like maybe 9 years ago. That brought that up when that happened. And I was like, oh man, it's like when Steven died. I mean, I was devastated when my brother Max died. So it's kind of like it's just kind of like this. Like there's, like I said, there's definite marker of when he left us from before and after. And it's always the little things as well all the time. It's not even there. I mean, they're like like say it's his birthday, so we're celebrating his birthday. He was a true Pisces. He was hard, but he had a soft inside. And I think it's one of those. All of a sudden, I'll hear a song. He likes Morrissey. That was somebody he liked. Well, he was very 80s, like I was. We're all 80s. And you go, oh, I hear Morrissey song. I think of him. Or I'll think of somebody will say something to me, reminds me of something he had said. It's like it's little things. It really is little things. And he was also from Orange County on Solo too, so it was still down here also. And I went to Orange County recently. There was some place where I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I would have Steven would have loved this place. Like it just comes up, and I see it online. I mean, I follow Maria and I follow each other, and she had two other kids after that with someone else, another lovely guy, and they've all grown up, but seeing Zachary grown up, and I've told him stories about his dad and stuff. Um, it's like it's all on a day like this, you're moving right along, and then like on a day you go, oh, okay. And now Facebook has, of course, if you post anything on Facebook or Snapchat, they'll remind you the whole memory shit. I'm like, I'm not into them. I don't even know if I like the memories sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to memory. And they'll remind you. But I mean, for me, I don't even need that. It's his death was one of the most significant deaths in my life that I will never forget. And I'm thinking right now, since I'm talking to you guys, part of me wants to cry, but part of me is kind of smiling, thinking of just some stuff he would say to me. Once I stayed at his house, he made me breakfast. He was good. He could cook. And he loved his son very much. And his son was a baby when he passed. So his son didn't get him long enough. But he said he remembers little bits and pieces. I talked to him once about it. And he said he remembers little bits and pieces. But I guess you would. You'd feel well. You should remember the love feeling because his father did love him very much. He was very involved. And Stephen wasn't perfect. He was a three-dimensional guy like all the rest of us and had issues and things. And but it's that promise cut short, right? We'll never know what he would have become. It was so he's again so young. I was trying to imagine him now at he'll be 55 or so right now, like that almost or so, or wow, how old he'll be. I was like, that's not he'll be in his 50s. I don't even know what he would like in his 50s. I can almost kind of imagine it a little bit. He might still be talking shit. But I'm like, I don't know. What would you have become? What would you have done? don't know. Like that. So I don't know. But I want to honor him today, March 10th. Stephen Dominguez, I love you. I miss you all the time. And hopefully you're looking down and seeing all the stuff that I'm doing and we're doing okay. And your son's like he's doing okay. But for you guys at home, just it's okay to have a long time, a death that happens a long time ago still affect you. It's okay. I think it just shows you're human. And it's more about the way they make you feel when they're here. Is that it? Isn't that what it is? You miss how they made you feel when they were here. And that's when that feels like it's ripped from you. That's tough to handle. And so it's at nighttime, you think about stuff like this. Hence JLJ this evening. I'm James Jr. And more episodes this week, like I said, all this week. But you can check out the post, you can check out previous episodes here on YouTube at JLJ Media or any audio streaming service platform you just want to listen. They come out at 8 o'clock. No, sorry. Well, yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, Monday through Friday. I'll talk to you next time.